This is my dragon fruit farm, and in this video, I am going to share with you how I started it and how I manage it. Most importantly, when choosing a site for your farm, you want an area that's warm and not too cold. The plants grow best at an elevation of 1,000 to 2,000 feet above sea level, where the climate is consistently warm throughout the year. If you live in a colder climate, you can still grow dragon fruit in a greenhouse. However, if you live in a very hot climate, you should know that dragon fruit trees will grow faster and bear more fruit. When temperatures are between 70 to 85 degrees Fahrenheit, the soil in my garden is sandy and slightly acidic, which is ideal for growing dragon fruit. They prefer a soil pH between 6.0 and 6.5. In other words, slightly acidic. So if your soil is too alkaline, you can amend it by adding compost or other organic matter, and then they'll be able to access those nutrients and they'll grow much better. Before planting, I removed all weeds and grasses from the area. I also made sure that there were no large tree roots nearby that could potentially lift up the trellis and the posts. If you do need to plant around trees, I recommend that you plant at the drip line of the trees, so that you're not competing for water and nutrients. I am also making a note here that some people will tell you to plant dragon fruits along a fence line. Please don't do this, because dragon fruits grow very, very tall, and they will eventually outgrow any structure. In my experience, the most successful dragon fruit trellis system starts with strong corner posts that are set into concrete. Then from there, you add the trellis and the cross wires. And finally, you attach the growing vines to the trellis using soft twine. Here is an example of a trellis system that I built a few years ago, and it is still standing strong. As for the size of the planting area, keep in mind that dragon fruit vines are vigorous growers. So if you're planting multiple vines, make sure that you give them enough room to climb. Each vine needs about 6 to 8 feet of space, and they can spread up to 15 feet wide. As you can see, my vines are growing over the edges of the trellis, and they're restarting to come back towards the ground. This is something that I need to fix. When it comes to the spacing of the vines on the trellis, I like to space mine about 8 to 10 feet apart. This gives me enough room to walk in between the rows and harvest the fruit without damaging the plants. It also allows for good air circulation, which helps prevent diseases. Now let's talk about the actual planting process. When you receive your plants, you may notice that they come in a plastic pot. Make sure that you remove the plastic pot and replace it with a terracotta pot. That way the roots have room to grow and breathe. I also like to amend the soil with compost or other organic matter. Another important tip is to water the plants deeply but infrequently. Let the soil dry out completely between waterings and then give it a good soak. I also recommend that you mulch around the base of the plants to help retain moisture in the soil and to suppress weeds. Lastly, dragon fruit plants are very thorny, so be careful when you're pruning them. You may need to wear gloves and long sleeves to protect your skin. I like to prune my plants regularly to keep them healthy and productive. The best time to prune is during the growing season, so that you can see exactly what you're redoing. As you can see here, I have a lot of dead and dying wood from the freeze this past winter, so I'm just going to go ahead and prune it right now. Once your plants are established, they're pretty much going to take care of themselves. The hardest part about growing dragon fruit is waiting for the fruit to ripen. It takes about 45 days for the fruit to mature after it's formed. The good news is that once you get your first harvest, you'll probably get many more to follow. Just make sure that you keep the plants well hydrated during hot, dry periods, and they should produce fruit for you for many years to come. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.